And I guess one of the most, like to look into the reasons, one of the most common causes in women is hormonal imbalance, which prevents ovulation from occurring. And this may be due to problems with the reproductive hormones themselves, or it may be a result of health problems such as thyroid disease. Also being underweight or overweight also affects it. In some cases, infertility may be caused by a woman's immune system attacking her partner's sperm, or by insufficient circulation to the uterus, which prevents fertilized eggs from implanting properly. There's also, to a lesser extent, it can be caused by structural damage, by infections like chlamydia or urinary tract infections in the past. Other factors which can reduce it in both partners include stress, nutritional deficiencies, exposures to chemicals such as pesticide residues, food additives, smoking, excessive alcohol or caffeine consumption. So these are all things to be taken into account when planning to conceive. And
so is it all down to, I suppose, healthy living again, healthy eating? It all seems to come back to the same.
Well, it does. Yeah. To be honest, yeah. I mean, the healthier your body, and in both sexes, his and hers, the healthier the pregnancy will be and lactation after, and the healthier the baby will be, really. Throughout history, couples on their honeymoon used to take nutritional herbal drinks to kind of boost immunity and boost stamina for the body when they were planning on conceiving and stuff. So, nutrition is so important here. Obviously, just to home in on one side of it, the fact that if you're underweight or overweight, well, one of the things, if you're underweight, we know from birds, like birds with wings, that if they have a bad season, for whatever weather conditions, one year there wasn't as much berries or whatever, they won't reproduce because they don't ovulate. And like humans are quite the same. They'll only reproduce if their health status is up to it. Some people who experience infertility try in vitro fertilization or IVF. Each attempt carries only around 25% chance of success. And on top of that, it just successfully implants a conceived egg. Nutrition and so on, and the health of the body still needs to be there,
And do you think it would be better before you try IVF to sort of get, look at your own health and your body and the way you treat it? And
yeah, well, definitely. I mean, first off, in order to come to the conclusion or the diagnosis of infertility, you have to be trying to conceive for 12 months, to say. And then generally after that, people tend to get tests done, and generally hormone function in the female and sperm count in the male and so on. And it's very important, no matter which way you go, to improve the health in both sexes. And it takes a bit of time, if there's a lot of toxicity in the body from whatever exposure to environmental chemicals. Just say a gardener, who might be exposed to a lot of pesticides, herbicides or whatever, or your job is something to do with chemicals, then it may be an idea to kind of detox from them for a number of months before even trying to conceive. And I was saying to you last week, actually, off air, that two of my lecturers in Sydney, who were their nutritionists and medical herbalists as well, they had a very busy clinic in Sydney city, and it was solely based on fertility. And quite a big few months waiting list, and very successful in treating it. And so nutrition and herbal medicines can be really helpful. First off, it's important to chart your cycles. So this is for the female, obviously. If you can get a chart that's based over the space of a month, and if you take your temperature each morning, it's quite an old method, but very, very accurate, and take your temperature each morning, mark it on a sheet, and then throughout the cycle you'll see by a change in temperature, maybe hopefully around mid-cycle, that'll indicate the day of ovulation. And them charts, I actually have them for download on my website, westernherbalmedicine.com, but it's important to do that for a few months and get an idea of when you're, the length of your cycle and so on, but when you're ovulating. And there's only a small window of maybe 5 to 7 days where it's possible to conceive around ovulation, and it's important to know when that is roughly, and then that's the time to try and conceive, as opposed to trying every day throughout the month. It's just kind of a waste of energy and resources to a certain extent. But I'll give you some good dietary recommendations now for fertility in general. I hear
there's a point actually just after coming in here, text. If conceiving is down to nutrition in part, why do women in third world countries have a lot of children?
Yeah, well, they're probably well nourished. I mean, to a certain extent, well, the likes of Ethiopia and stuff, when they're starving now, I don't think they have a lot of children, They tend to have one or two or whatever.
Two, yeah.
And there's a lot of infant mortality and so on. But I think places like Romania, not that they're third world, but there is poverty-stricken countries where they're a lot better nourished.
Yeah.
And people are quite amazed with them statistics of how in the West we're not as well nourished as they are in poorer countries.
In poorer countries, yeah, because from that text,
it's actually a sad insight into our environment and our diet and where it's gone. A few tips on a dietary level, things to include if you're going to conceive and you're planning on conceiving, and these should be something you should start. A lot of girls become pregnant and then they start a nutritional program and so on, which is great.
All of a sudden they become healthy.
Yeah, which is good. Like, that's the way to go. But really, ideally, you should start away prior to conception, maybe 4 months, 6 months prior to planning to conceive. Then get yourself healthy and so on. And things that I'd include or that I recommend to women in the clinic is a good quality cod liver oil to supply 20,000 international units of vitamin A and high levels of vitamin D, and they have the omega-3s, so the fats are very important, and the fat-soluble vitamins very important. Drink whole milk as opposed to low-fat or any low-fat stuff. Avoid them. Go on to the high-fat stuff. Fats are very important to nourish the body, but also to nourish the fetus.
So instead of using your low-fat yogurts and your low-fat drinks or whatever,
to be honest, I wouldn't recommend using them anyway.
No, you don't.
But generally, if you want to conceive and so on, and if you want to nourish the body well, it's very important to have high levels of good quality fats. So that's your whole fat dairies, your whole fat butters, your whole fat eggs, and it's very important to increase them. Liver, fresh lamb's liver is very important. Again, very high in these fat-soluble vitamins and so on. So once or twice a week, fresh seafood, and fish is very good. I'd watch the large fish like tuna, swordfish, and shark and stuff like that.
Tuna now, you just mentioned tuna there. Tuna will be very popular, I think. So why would you say to avoid tuna? Well,
I wouldn't say to avoid it, I just watch it, in that I wouldn't eat it every day. If you say, right, fish is great, right, so I'll eat tuna every day, because it is probably the most popular one, because it's convenient and
convenient, yeah.
Because the large fish accumulate more mercury and more toxins of the ocean.
Really?
Yeah. So, like, it starts from maybe the smaller fish, accumulate them to a smaller level, and then a bigger fish eats them, and then the larger fish eat them. So it's an accumulative thing, right? And mercury toxicity and stuff like that has become shown in some of the research to be a problem in fertility. So not avoid it, but I wouldn't go willy-nilly eating the large ones, eat the smaller ones.
So you'll be talking like your cod, your mackerel,
sardines as well, and so, they're all very nutritional and but also your good quality meats, and the oily fish is better. Coconut oil is a good fat. I'd use it. Lacto-fermented foods, so good for the gut microflora as well, also shown to have a link. Funny enough, bone broth soups, so making a soup from say the carcass of a chicken as well as the meat, and lamb shanks or lamb knuckles and beef bones, like put the bones in with it as well, like years ago they used to do it, and
make the soup with the bones.
There's a big reason for it, because there's a lot of really good nourishing stuff in the bones, and then after 4 hours or so remove them and puree the veg and add back in, and then eat the meats, and they're really, really nutritious. Bone broth soups, soaked whole grains and fresh vegetables and fruits, obviously. So there are things one should increase, and things to avoid are your trans fatty acids. So they're your heated oils or hydrogenated oils. Again.
Okay, I have a quick break to take, and what we'll do is we'll come back with things that to avoid in your diet.
Yeah,
we're back in 2 minutes.
Fast Eddie is back at Jumpin' Jack's Bundoran,
giving away a holiday to Spain over the next 4 weeks, with one name pulled from the hat each week. Disco this Saturday night. Fast Eddie is back at Jumpin' Jack's Bundoran.
The earlier you get there, the cheaper it is.
Over 20, ID required.
The countdown is on to the Ocean FM Country Legends show in the Great Northern Hotel Bundoran, Monday next February 8th. Phil Begley, Sean Cuddy, Larry Cunningham, Gior Dallas, Mick Flavin, Ray Lynham and Louise Morrissey will be joined by Linda Welby, Nathan Carter and Lisa Stanley. That's the Country Legends show, Great Northern Hotel Bundoran, Monday next February 8th. Tickets just €20 in advance or at the door.
The Pierhead Hotel, Spa and Leisure Centre, Mullockmore. Live music this Saturday night with Mad Marcus. Special offer Sunday, Carvery main courses from $9.95. Includes a voucher for one free swim or a half-price seaweed bath. At the Pierhead Hotel, Spa and Leisure Centre, Mullockmore. 07191 66171.
Tots and Tassels, Donegal Town. Stocking a wide range of girls' communion dresses with accessories and boys' suits with shirts and ties to match. All you need for that perfect communion outfit. Gift vouchers available. Deposit secures any outfit. Tots and Tassels, Killybegs Road, Donegal Town. 07497238828.
Simpson Supermarket, East End Bundoran. Specials this week. Net of onions, 59 cent. Quilana orange juice, 2 for $1.50. McCain oven chips, 1.81 kg, €2.49. Nestle Cheerios, €1.79. 5 large oranges, €1.99. Simpson Supermarket, East End Bundoran. Great prices on your doorstep.
Kitty's Cuts at Mothercare Cleaver Retail Park, Sligo. Sligo's first ever kids-only hair salon and ear piercing specialist. All kids get to watch their favourite cartoon on TV while sitting in salon car seats. Every kid goes away with a lollipop, a bright balloon and a great smile. Opening offer $9.99. Kitty's Cuts at Mothercare Superstore, Cleaver Retail Park, Sligo.
Employers, it's time to get moving on your P35 return. The deadline is February 15th. Take the easy route through Ross, Revenue's online service at revenue.ie. If you need directions, call the helpline, the number's on the form. Avoid penalties, a possible tax audit, or even criminal prosecution. P35 deadline, February 15th.
To have your say, call the Northwest Today comment line on 0818 365 500. Text your comment to 083 3500 530.
And you're very welcome back to the programme. We are in studio with Gabriel McSharry, who is a medical herbalist and nutritionist. Now, Gabriel, we're going to talk about things that people planning pregnancy or women who are pregnant should avoid. Yeah, well,
as I mentioned just before the break, trans fatty acids, I think, are the worst offenders, because they're fats and they're oils that have been modified by heat, and they become poor fats, and the body uses them to make cells and so on. So you're making your cells from poor raw materials. That's, I suppose, an easy way to put it. So you get them in heated oils, so don't fry with your oils and stuff, and your baked goods and chips and stuff. Anything where the oils are heated, vegetable oils are heated, avoid, like margarines and stuff too. Junk food in general, cut down, and stay away from low fat and diet foods.
Well, why do you say to stay away from low-fat and diet foods? Because I think most people have it installed, I suppose, in their brain that, eat your low-fat products because it's better than full-fat. But why would you say that? It's probably
installed in the brain from very good marketing and advertising, and because there's big vested interests in the people who market these products and stuff. The reason I say avoid them, they're modified foods, and you're just eating processed food. So if something is naturally low fat, then that's fine. Go for your life. It's a natural food. But when I say low fat and diet foods, what they've done is, we'll just say yogurt, they've taken the fat component out. And then to add in a lot of sugar and stuff, so people will eat it, because it probably doesn't taste that good. So anything that's modified to become low fat, but it's generally a high fat food, I'd avoid, because if there's a high amount of fat there, natural fats, it's supposed to be there. So there's a synergy between the fats and the proteins and the carbs that are in it. And so you're taking a modified food, and I'd avoid them. And there's some really, really good research to show that low-fat and diet foods should be really avoided in pregnancy, but also post-conception and during lactation. It's not a time where you want to reduce the amount of fats. So natural fats, I'm constantly driving this point across, are very nourishing to the body.
So we all should eat a certain amount of fat, shouldn't we?
Definitely, yeah. Like, eat good quality natural fats, and don't be afraid of them. See, a lot of people have this fear of fat as well. And it's really the processed fats, like heated oils and heated vegetable oils, margarines, baked goods. So all baked goods have fats that are heated to high temperatures. Trans fats, there's a long list of research. These are no good for us, and it's only a matter of time until they're banned, actually, from the diet, from the food chain, I'd say, in the next 10 years. So I know it's kind of counterintuitive for some, but it's very important to avoid these low-fat, high-sugar products. Commercial fried foods, high-sugar products, and white flour in general, soft drinks, caffeine, alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, illicit drugs and stuff. These should really be avoided. Some other general recommendations: your household cleaning products. There's some really good natural ones now, just based on natural ingredients. Eat clover and lilies are two ones in Ireland. You're washing up liquid and stuff like that, and your cleaning products. Switch over to them, maybe no harm. Drink lots of pure water. If you're on a healthy regime, I'd drink up to 3-4 pints a day, maybe.
And what would you think of bottled water as compared to water coming out of the tap?
Yeah, better, I'd say. Just because in the tap water, the chemicals they add, the fluorine and chlorine, these aren't good. And that's why I'd avoid it. And the bottled water is better. They have the problems. There's plastic leaches from the bottle. I mean, you can get down to it really fine. You're probably better off drinking out of a well, and where the water.
You're lucky enough to have one near you.
Yeah. But water is important. Healthy sun exposure, if possible, in Ireland. Healthy sun exposure is to get enough sun exposure and don't burn. And exercise, again, exercise really, really important to have the body toned, the muscles toned, because for women in general, they're pregnancy takes a lot out of them, and if they're better toned muscle wise all over, it'll stand to them.
So I suppose then going out and doing a wee light walk and stuff like that.
Definitely, yeah. You don't need to go mad. And things like for women who are pregnant, also keep exercising. Don't go mad, but swimming or yoga or walking and stuff like that has been shown in the research to be very beneficial to ease pregnancy and also to ease the whole delivery process. So they're important to note. People ask me a lot about herbal medicines. Yeah, they can be very important and very effective. And if you're experiencing problems conceiving, a medical herbalist can assess the causes of the infertility and provide an individually tailored blend of herbs and detailed nutritional advice. So on the herbs, for example, herbs such as Vitex, Agnus castus and false unicorn root, very helpful in regulating hormones. Others such as raspberry leaf help to ensure the reproductive organs are healthy. And if there's the presence of immunological rejection of sperm and so on, herbs such as echinacea, circulatory stimulants, yarrow, ginger ensure a healthy blood supply to the uterus. There's also great herbal medicines for stress, which is associated with infertility. Herbs can be taken during IVF or without it if you're just going purely natural. I would be cautious taking herbs during pregnancy. Always consult a medical herbalist, because there's very few I'd use during the first 2 trimesters. I only use a few herbs in the last trimester. Just to be safe, but definitely when you're post-conception and when you're getting yourself ready, herbs can be great.
Okay. Now, this listener says that since the birth of the 3rd child, she says she's getting periods every 2 weeks. She wants to have another baby but can't. What could be the problem?
Oh, well, I need to talk to her for a while. She's best maybe give me a ring off here or ring the clinic.
And for people who want to contact you,
well, there's phone number is 07191 42940. That's 42940. And I'm happy to talk to them
directly.
Off here.
You need to. Does cod liver oil make a person put on weight?
No.
Simple answer to that.
Yeah.
Now, there's a few more questions here.
I wouldn't be afraid of fats, because they're oils and fats. We really need to kind of unlearn that whole fear of fats. Because it's something I have to counsel people a lot on.
Right. Now, this lady wants info on a. Now, I'll have to spell this because I haven't a clue what it is. It's XITISAN diet.
I've never heard of it.
Xitsan diet, which she read about. I haven't heard of it either.
It must be a new one. Again, she can give me a ring on it and explain the author or whatever. But I've never heard of that. There's a lot of diets out there recommended for a lot of different things, and some I agree with. Some, generally the majority, I disagree with. But
okay, this listener wants to know, is there something he can take in his daily diet for cellulitis?
All right. Well, exercise is very important in cellulitis, but it's an itis. Anything with itis is an inflammatory response, and there's certain things in the diet that increase inflammation, and there's certain things that will reduce it. It's long-winded, but definitely, as just the things I mentioned to avoid there for fertility, it's the exact same thing for inflammation. So things like trans fatty acids, reduce junk foods, and high sugar and processed carbohydrate foods. Very important to avoid all these in cellulitis.
And this listener wondering if we can eat too much veg at one time. And but they've named, there's loads of different diets that are coming in here. Would you recommend X, Y, and Z diet? But overall, you don't recommend a lot of diets, do you?
There isn't really a good commercial one out there, because they all, they can be good for a certain extent, and I've read most of them, to be honest. They all can be good, have some good information, but they all fall down on some real key areas, and it's generally around the fat area, like they just really fall down on that. But if I was to recommend a good resource, the Weston A. Price Foundation, if you put that into Google, they're an American foundation, and the advice they give on nutrition for women who are infertile, for preconception care for women who are pregnant and so on, is without doubt brilliant, and generally based on traditional diets.
Okay.
And it's really good information.
Now, lady wants to know, can you advise anything to give a young baby of 5 months who is cutting their first teeth? He is giving Bonjela, but it's doing no good.
Oh, yeah, well, I have a herbal liquid that I give and they rub into the gums, and it kind of eases the pain of it. And a few drops of a tincture that just kind of reduces the whole. It's a very stressful event for a baby, feeding and stuff. And sometimes, well, the majority of times it affects the bowels. So just a tincture I make from a few herbs, and for a baby that age, you only take a few drops, and you can syringe it into them or drop it on the tongue, and it works great for the whole transition. I meant to just answer one that came in there on the vegetables. Can you eat too much vegetables? Because I think we got that last week as well. We did address it. The answer to that is no, really, in that like vegetables being a natural product, if you have too much, they will challenge bowel tolerance. So, you know, there's only so much the body will break down and absorb, and then if you have more than that, it'll pass through you, you know, so what we call challenge bowel tolerance. And generally vegetables have a fibrous component to it, and they'll induce loose bowel motions or diarrhea if you eat too much. So I guess you can eat too much, but the body will send a signal that you're eating too much, you know, and then you should reduce.
Start with controlling what you're eating. Okay, Gabriel, thanks for joining us on the programme this morning. Of course, you're back with us again next Wednesday morning just after 11 o'clock.
Thank you.
Ocean FM.
We know that